You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Center, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is We're doing live! Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000! My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there. Do a barrel roll. Don't chase me, bro. It's a trap. I'm a firing mama. Time to Hey, Charlie, wake up! Oh, God, oh, man.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd to Know Basis here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. With me are Cian and Dara. How are we doing, boys?
Very well, thank you.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
I wasn't quite ready. Dara didn't do a countdown. He was like, "I'm recording."
Yeah, we're into it. Listen, we've all had a busy weekend. Big things have happened, and none of us are prepared for the rest of the week ahead.
I am sick. I am con sick.
Dara's con sick.
Every time.
But before we talk about that, we do need to get like the kind of the world headline out of the way.
We're going to get the headlines out of the way so that we can inevitably spiral into talking about some 90s movie that no one's heard of or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second.
I could talk about having recently watched the 1970s Gundam and the implications of sectarian violence therein. But first, big W for Ireland this weekend.
Yes.
At the Oscars.
Yes, well, I mean, assuming Cork doesn't secede from the nation, which they've been threatening to do for a while, but yes.
Let them. I'd like to see them try.
It is very far away.
Don't, my family's from Cork. Don't challenge them,
It is very far away. I love Cork, guys, but we need an airport directly to Dublin again.
Well, it's only far away from where we're recording. Everything's far away from something.
No, but I mean, there needs to be a direct flight again from Dublin to Cork.
That was really good, yeah.
Except for West Cork, because West Cork is in fact far away from everywhere.
Yes.
Cork's amazing. It's just really far away.
I used to get holiday in the pantry, and even when you're there, you're still somehow far away from everything. It's really weird.
Or a bullet train. Do you think now? You think now with the new attention, they could get like a bullet train?
Come to Cork. We have Oscar-winning actors who don't live here anymore, and a bullet train.
Yeah, it writes itself.
Only in Cork. It does not leave Cork. It can go 300 kilometers an hour within the county borders.
No, a bullet train from Dublin to Cork. It makes sense.
Oh no, that does. I'm saying things that don't.
I'm saying things that.
Last time I was like, I mean, look, I'm sorry, we're gonna get letters or whatever. The last time I was up there, I've got family, and they're like, "Oh, and if you're in North Cork, you don't talk about South Cork, and if you're in South Cork, you don't talk about North Cork." It's great. I love Cork to bits. I've never met anyone from Cork who wasn't a character, and many of my family and dear friends are from Cork. It's wonderful, fantastic place. If I tease it, it's entirely with love.
They just need to move it further closer to Dublin.
Saying that would annoy someone from Cork more than anything else that has been said so far.
Look, I just want to be able to get to it easier. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything bad. I just
move.
We just take the town and we move it somewhere else.
Move it closer to Dublin, which would be grand. Problem solved.
But Cork wouldn't move.
Not with that attitude.
On point of principle, it wouldn't.
Oh, well, that's probably true.
I mean, I'm sure every county kind of feels the same way, like Kerry is the kingdom and all that jazz. But Cork would not make concessions to Dublin. That's like the New Zealand, Australia thing.
Hey, listen, I gotta say, from where I'm sitting, me doing pretty all right where it is.
That's true. It's close to everything. It's a good time.
What are you making out that Meath is like Schitt's Creek or something like?
No, it's close. You know, it's grand. Cork is amazing. It's just really
I meant more
far
in
away.
the sense of like the lack of egotism of a Dublin, like, you know.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, oh big time. Dublin's kip. We know this.
Welcome to the Rating Our Counties episode. Tune in next week for Roscommon.
Oof.
That's rough.
Big L on Roscommon. But Meath, we're grand. We don't have the big head about us, and we've got so many cultural landmarks. You want Hill of Tara?
Westmeath. Rate your Meaths.
We don't talk about Westmeath. We got Tara. We've got Trim. We've got castles. We got what you need.
But no bullet train to Cork.
Yet.
That's what people need to do. We need to like get a movement, you know, where it's like bullet train to Cork.
We just need we just need public transport in general. If you're in one of the adjoining counties to Dublin, there's like a bus every 3 hours. Other than that, you're kind of stuck.
There's one bus. That's it. No others.
I remember I used to go to Wicklow a lot, and that's like the closest you can get as far as counties outside of Dublin. And it was a nightmare going to and from there.
Yeah, but you're in Wicklow. That's a nightmare anyway.
Wicklow is next door.
That's a next door.
There are buses that travel further within Dublin than it takes for me to get to Wicklow, and there's still no buses. The Oscars.
You know what, right? So, hold on.
I'm sure you've ascertained, we're talking about the Oscars.
I used to feel bad.
Thank you to the I don't know, people out in Eastern Europe who have now had a thoroughly misleading education of the neighbouring counties to Dublin.
I used to feel bad about how long it would take us to like get to the topic, right? And then I went to go see a live podcast. I'm not going to name the name of the podcast, but it thoroughly just kind of like perturbed me to such an extent where.
Do they edit though?
I don't know. But it was like a case with the the fireworks factory.
Yeah.
When are they going to get to the fireworks factory?
This is true. We're guilty of episode. I listened to a Star Trek podcast called Newbie Star Trek, and it takes them at least 5 minutes of getting through to actually get to the episode at hand.
Yeah, but it took these guys 40 minutes to get to the meat of the podcast.
How long was that podcast?
It was 2.5 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
And it had half an hour of meat to it. And I'm like, why didn't you just talk about what people came for? At least with us, you know, we have a lot of fun.
You're learning about the Vatican while you're waiting to get to the topic.
For sure. You're usually learning something you can use, not just random faff. But
should I break out the tangent? You still have them.
Not to disregard the random faff we have.
Of course, but it's all in service of something, and it's limited.
The Oscars.
Do you know how much an Oscar costs? How much an Oscar is worth?
How much?
250 euros.
Why don't we just get one?
Isn't that wild?
I've spent more money on less worthy things.
That's how much it costs. Isn't that crazy?
If anything, that seems
genuinely boring.
Yeah. I think that seems more expensive than it should be.
250 euro?
Don't they get handed out like gift bags at the Oscars? Not even the people winning, like attendees.
Oh yeah, like you get iPads and stuff like that. Yeah.
Like,
how do we get on the Oscars?
You have to make a film and be in
the film.
Peter Capaldi got an Oscar before he was famous. Like, sometimes you can, if you're like kind of outside of America, you can kind of look out.
We need to show up. We need to like get on the Oscars, guys.
I'm good.
We can't even talk about it. How are we going to get on it?
I don't know. See, this is a future problem.
Listen, I'm good. I think I've said on air how I think it's a bankrupt organization. They're not going to let me in.
I just want a gift bag.
Okay, well, show if we'll get your gift bag and then we'll leave.
The Oscars.
You could be
the Oscars.
Or you could be like the coolest. You could be like the coolest man, Hayao Miyazaki, win an Oscar and not show up.
Yeah, but see, he didn't get the gift bag, so really feel.
I quite like
vote
Richard
for
E.
him.
Grant's approach, which was he got nominated for an Oscar for the first time like 3 or 4 years ago. And he used the opportunity with his daughter there to stalk Barbara Streisand and completely ignore all the famous people. That's what he did. That's what he said he did.
Why? What does he have against Barbara Streisand?
No, he loves her.
Oh.
He has a giant hedge, like shaped like her head in his garden.
So this was stalking with love?
Yes. Reciprocated love, seemingly.
Oh, well, that's okay then, I suppose.
Thankfully.
Thankfully. Oh, okay, the Oscars.
The Oscars. Right, okay, all right. First and foremost, as we're recording this, we have the results, but I don't think it's been played on like RTV, like on RTE or anything.
It has. It was played last night.
Unless they played it like 2 a.m. or
They
something.
played it last night.
Probably were. If RTE weren't playing the Oscars live, that's their problem.
That's true. That's true. Here's the thing, right? You know the way you're talking, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna replay it like a day later at 9 o'clock." It's like, what are you doing? Why can't you just play it live? I mean, most people who are wrestling fans are used to watching stuff at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 4 a.m. My body clock is completely destroyed by the fact that I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. Everyone else can kind of just deal with it. Or even Conor McGregor when he was fighting, it was like 6 a.m. RT need to get their act together and actually like stream this at the right time. I want to go to the Oscars.
We're just really alienating every single member of the Irish audience, aren't we?
Why?
RTE's gone, Cork is gone.
Cian, were you not like around last year? I don't. If dissing the RTE is alienating the Irish public, you were not there.
No, but it's alienating our business contacts potentially in the future.
Hey, it's not. I just want to go to the Oscars. That's all I'm saying. If anyone wants to take me, I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, because somebody come pick up Dara and bring him to Hollywood.
Not Hollywood specifically. I just want that gift bag. Now I'm like motivated.
Okay, we'll set up a PO box, and every week we'll just beg someone to send Dara a gift box.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
The Oscars.
The Oscars.
Right. Okay. All right. Right. Let's get this in some context. Since we were time lagged or whatever here, how did you find out the results, Kev?
Oh, on Twitter the morning after. Actually,
Okay. Not on Twitter.
on
see.
newspaper headlines the morning after. Because
I found out about it on the wonderful RTE news app.
the big headline: Cillian Murphy won Best Actor. And
What?
the moment that happened, every news outlet in the country plastered his face on everything.
Right.
And yeah, well, for a great performance.
My sound dropped out there. We're still talking about Cillian Murphy, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I am kind of like, I mean, I was surprised that he got it just because, like, sometimes if I don't really rate the judges of the Oscars, but sometimes if they expect to zig one way, they'll zag the other. Like, I mean, like my mind goes back to the infamous time that that musical La La Land, everyone thought it would win, and they even read it out by accident, and no, because it was almost too obvious, you know. But
Yeah, but I'm even looking at like the other nominees, and I just don't like. Like Christopher Nolan was probably kind of always going to sweep this, which he kind of did.
Once Barbie was kind of out of the way, there's nothing standing in his way. Like,
yeah, and like listen again, I think we've had this conversation. Barbie was never going to win because the Oscars never go for the blockbuster.
No, they make
media.
And because
it's
it
worth
was
actually
talking
garbage.
about
About how the Oscars like have sort of had to concede to reality. Like they upped I think it must have been a few years ago, they upped the Best Picture nominees to 10 from 5. So they could put things that they never intend to win, but like Mad Max Fury Road, but just to stay relevant, like, you know? And
listen. The Oscars don't mean anything, guys.
Right, well, why are we talking about it then?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, look, it doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's just like a nice night that they have for themselves. The best movie often doesn't win the Oscar. Like, look, I'm happy for Cillian Murphy that he won, but Oppenheimer was very boring. I was on my phone the entire time.
No, you're
Yeah. No,
okay. Look, I think if you don't watch the movie,
I did watch the movie.
The right to critique the movie,
and it bored the hell out of me. It bored the hell out of me. I was very bored.
You've seen Madam Web 6 times. You couldn't sit through Oppenheimer.
I've seen it 5 times.
By the time this goes out, it'll be 6.
But it'll be 6. No, I haven't seen it that much now. But
I'm doing the maths in my head. So if Oppenheimer is 2 Madam Webs, roughly.
Okay.
Like, you know.
Well, see, the thing about Madam Web is it had something to say. And it did.
Whereas Oppenheimer is just hugely apolitical, like, you know.
No, I think there was a message. I think if you just peel back another 2 or 3 layers, I think Oppenheimer had something to say.
Yeah, and it said it really boringly, while Madam Web actively had something to say, and was spellbinding. Well,
go on.
The good people will have to wait. We have something coming up all about Madam Web soon, which we can't get into, but. One day, Keen. One day.
So you're not patient enough to watch a movie that's on in front of you, but you are patient enough to watch Madam Web 6 times because it promises that something will happen eventually, maybe.
No, something did happen eventually, maybe.
Which was
art.
Okay, look, I'm grabbing the tangent bells. Okay, right. Okay, that's Cillian Murphy, very well deserved. Like he's like I know he's always famous, but like he's one of those like. Just very consistent actors. Like if you look at his other Christopher Nolan films, he's in loads of them, but he's not necessarily the leading man. Like, you know, so it's great to see him recognized in this way. And hopefully it will mean that Americans will stop calling him Cillian, which...
Yeah, they do that a lot, don't they? Yeah, they really do. That's very annoying.
Oh, God.
And the BBC keeps calling the British as well, which is very funny.
Oh,
that's because anyone with a shred of talent they try to plug. They will try to claim any. I mean, it's just the British way, trying to steal anything from the Irish.
Yeah,
it's so funny. They're just like Irish. What's it? Englishman. Cillian Murphy's like, oh, he probably won't like that.
Although I think it was in the interviews for Inception, someone did call like Cillian Murphy British, and he corrected them, and they kind of went. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? And he goes, no, I don't. Like,
no, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
Find that clip. But now, not that I want to defend the British necessarily, but I've seen a lot of Irish outlets claiming poor things. because I think the original production company was based in Ireland.
Yeah, the production company is like in Dublin.
Yeah. Well, okay, in that case, fair enough.
Like half the team are Irish.
Oh, in that case, it's fine if it's half its team.
Yeah.
Like,
I think most of its team is Irish, actually. 90% of them.
Just not the actors, the director, the book it's based on. Like,
oh no, but all the people who made it, like.
Well, in that case, it's fine. Fair enough. Okay, because that kind of stuck out as like me. But actually, let's get to the word. So, how many did Oppenheimer win now? So, Christopher Nolan took Best Director. I understand.
He took Best Director. It took Best Picture, Best Actor. Robert Downey Jr. Best Supporting Actor.
Okay. Again, well deserved. Yeah.
Best Original Score.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure if we flagged it back in the day. Not a Hans Zimmer one.
Ludwig Göransson. He's all over the place.
Oh, he's amazing. Like, you know, he's great. And he came from a very interesting, because he came from a background in producing like pop songs and stuff. So it's really cool that he's kind of like through Venom of all things. He has found a way into scoring music, a bit like Tom Holdenberg, whatever his name was. Like, you know,
just saying, the Venom verse, or is it the SSU? It delivers again.
Well, he also did score for Black Panther, which is a slightly more successful movie.
It wasn't more successful than Madam Web.
I'm gonna need the receipts.
I think that's incorrect.
Not to me.
That's just because something's true in your heart.
How many times have I seen Madam Web? 5. How many times have I seen Black Panther? 1.5, maybe.
Garrett, the money doesn't work like that. They don't count just every euro you spent.
Wait, you mean we're not going to get a sequel to Madam Web the more times I go see it?
I mean, maybe.
I really hope so.
Start putting money away to support Craven, though.
No, 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 no. I probably won't go see Craven. No, it's a Madam Web or bust.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Speaking of actors who were in Spider-Man films,
She wasn't in the right one though.
She got Best Actor for Poor Things. Again, very well deserved. I only just saw it this week. You saw it recently enough, Kev, didn't you?
Yeah. Me and Dara talked about it a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I wasn't there, so I won't rehash it. But
yeah, it genuinely is phenomenal. A fantastic movie. I will have to say, like, excuse me, we can't talk about it on this show because it goes on radio, but genuinely phenomenal. Really is. I mean,
yeah,
like her
not
performance.
as weird as I expected it to be for all of the having not seen it in cinema.
It's very weird.
It's it's not the strangest thing. Like,
no, it's just
I could follow what was going on. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, it's just it's very again, we're tied by the fact.
I think it's very Terry Gilliam.
Yes,
like, and it's very Stanley Kubrick in bits as well.
Yeah, and I talked about this with a friend of mine the other night, which was how come in this film the green screen backdrops look genuinely like amazing, even though you know they're green screen backdrops, whereas most of the time they look awful in all other films. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's because
you're not dealing with the uncanny valley. That's why.
Like, is that it? Because
that's it. Yeah.
Like a boat. Like,
yeah, because you're buying into you're buying into its own kind of world. You know, it's not like trying to replicate something that exists, so it doesn't trigger the uncanny valley. That's what it is.
Is that it? Okay,
yes.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, the proportions are already pretty warped.
Okay,
so they managed to pull it off.
Right. Okay, and they also got Oscars for like kind of best costume, best production, best makeup, hairstyling, all that kind of stuff. So I want to just run down the list before, which was like I haven't seen it unfortunately, but Divine Joy Randolph got Best Supporting Actor for Holdovers, a movie I did not hear of until it was nominated for the Oscars. But that is kind of the way with the Oscars, you know.
Yeah, I heard about it a little bit on the run up, but I actually am interested because it's Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and a young lad, and it's basically these three people that like, from kind of disparate backgrounds that just end up having to spend like Christmas together.
Yeah.
And it seems that's just kind of like kind of a family, just kind of like feel good movie. It just looks like a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, like, just out of curiosity, I won't do this for every category, but like admittedly I'm a shut-in with a toddler, but like I was shocked by how many of the films nominated for Best Picture I have not heard of or just have very little information about, because it kind of goes back to the Deer Hunter thing of like now the Oscars are being used as promotion for the movie. They're not getting recognition for being a movie that is successful. So American Fiction.
Oh, phenomenal.
Have you seen it? Have you?
Yeah. American Fiction is actually unbelievably good.
What's it about?
It's about this like highfalutin author, you know, and he writes like really, really highbrow retellings of myth, you know, like Ovid and stuff like that, right?
Oh, is this Jeffrey Wright, was it?
No. Hold on. It's the guy from Hold on. It's the guy from Hunger Games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's in it anyway. But he doesn't write he doesn't sell anything. It is Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, you are right. Okay. Yeah, he's in it, and basically like he doesn't sell anything. So he goes and writes the most stereotypical outlandish black book ever, right?
Right.
Like stereotypical American gang thing, right? And he writes it because he sees that that's what's selling. So it's a cutting satire of you know, that kind of stuff in Hollywood, that's like pandering to people or whatever, right?
Okay, all right.
But what's interesting about it is at the same time he learns about himself in it, because a lot of what he's writing is actually projecting. So he's like, oh, this is how I feel, and I feel I need to be better than this or whatever. So he grows, but it has that's one side of it. But it has a really, really good telling of like a family's struggle with tragedy. Like his sister dies, his mom dies. It's horrific, like, but the actual performances in it are phenomenal and what it's saying, and like they feel like real characters in it. But what's really, really cool is at the end of it, not to spoil it, at the end of it, it doesn't really end. It kind of like has 3 or 4 different endings to it, and you kind of take your own walk away from it, and it ends in this surreal take. So it's a movie with so many layers to it that you're like, this is actually phenomenal. And then it depends what layer you want to take and how you want to see it. So if you just want to go at the base level of it being hilarious because it is, that's cool. But if you want to take it at, someone's personal growth, like genuine personal growth, that's there too. And then it's also just it really, really does actually speak to you as an audience member. It's phenomenal. I'm sad that didn't win. Adam Brody's in it, and he plays like a Weasley ad executive. Absolutely hilarious.
Okay.
It's very similar to the bit in there's a similar movie to this. Dream Sequence came out a couple of months ago, and I think we talked about it on this show.
Was that the Nicolas Cage one?
That was the Nicolas Cage one, and I think these two movies together, if I was like running a screening, I'd run those movies together because there is an awful lot of overlap between the two, and I think they're trying to say the same thing about how modern modern movies and books are made, and chasing the zeitgeist and not understanding why it's there. I think they'd be really, really good to run together. But phenomenal film. And if you haven't seen American Fiction, absolutely do. Sterling K. Brown plays an absolute blinder in it as well. So phenomenal film. Genuinely really.
Hey, well, you know what? You've made me curious now. I want to see how many of the actual Best Picture nominations you're aware of or have seen. What about Anatomy of a Fall?
I meant to see it. I didn't, but I hear it's wonderful.
Okay. Kev, anything?
I heard about it. Sounds extreme because it's kind of breaking down this guy falls to his death, and
Right.
it's just kind of like it's very kind of crime scene investigation, and just like it's very kind of pinboard type of story to it. Sounds great. Never got a chance to see it.
I just missed it.
Second him.
Okay, well, we talked. I'm sure enough ink has been spilled about Barbie, so we'll move on from that. But what about the holdovers, though?
As I said, I mentioned it there. 3 people from different walks of life end up having to spend the holidays together, and it just seems like a feel-good time. Paul Giamatti, hard to go wrong.
Yeah.
Literally my take on it too. Paul Giamatti's phenomenal. So actually, American Fiction did win. It won Best Adapted Screenplay.
Oh, fair play.
It deserved it. Amazing film.
Okay, excellent. Well, I mean, like, I think if you say Oscar-winning film Paul Giamatti, so you kind of autofill in your brain. I can kind of see the kind of film. Did we actually talk in detail about Killers of the Flower Moon?
I didn't see it.
Oh,
yeah. I know it's Scorsese, and I know it's about like it sounds kind of interesting. I just don't have the interest because the people raving about it are typically American, and the kind of the story that tells. Yeah. About the foundation of the FBI and like Native Americans, and just not being American, it doesn't grab me.
I just went to go see Madam Web instead. It's true, I could lie, but I'm not.
You could see Madam Web 3 times in the span of one Killers of the Flower Moon. We need to do like Madam Web as our unit of time.
A unit of measurement.
What about Maestro then?
Oh, I didn't see that. I don't even know what's about.
I vaguely, I think, when I saw Bradley Cooper put on a nose prosthetic, I checked out. I have no interest.
But this is now you've kind of disproven my point. But this is what I mean. Like there will be films that exist just to kind of get nominated for the Oscars. Like
by all accounts, this was Bradley Cooper really trying to get that Oscar.
No, but see, this is what I was saying. The Oscars don't really mean anything. They mean as much as you want them to mean. Like it's a big thing. It's a huge achievement, or whatever. But then at the same time, it also doesn't. It's very much like it's cool to have, but at the same time, it's like, oh, the award statue. Oh, it's an Oscar.
Yeah, but it's also one of the very few occasions where, like, for one thing, it's live. And potentially anything can happen.
Yeah, but so is wrestling.
Even though I'm sure it's very tightly controlled. And for another, like, you've got all these, like, celebrities I don't think aren't as meaningful as they used to be. We're in sort of the shared universe world now. But, like, it's still bizarre to have all those people in one place at one time where anything can happen,
Okay.
No, I'm serious. There is a spectacle to it, like.
No, I just don't get it. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, right? And
it might help if the host was actually funny,
Who was the host?
Which of the
Jimmy
Jimmys
Kimmel.
was it? I get them mixed up.
Oh, it was Jimmy Kimmel. Oh my God.
All right, I can't remember which one of them I don't like, but I'm not wild on either of them.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel's not funny. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
It's about as funny as watching paint dry.
Oh my god.
True.
Put the two side by side. Like,
oh no, you're not getting a
every
good
now and
option.
again, Jimmy Kimmel turns up when like some celebrity like does a sketch or something with him, but like you're kind of watching for the Anyway, that is an entire other topic, and we still have to get to Dublin Comic Con. Right, Past Lives. Have you seen Past Lives?
Never heard of it.
There you go. So okay, so far you're batting higher than I expected. We've already kind of covered 4 things at Oppenheimer. The Zone of Interest.
I have heard about this.
I have heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It does not interest me in the slightest, but I do know about it. It's,
oh god, yeah, no, that looks like a very depressing movie. I wouldn't be into that.
Yeah, it's about a family living in the like side house of a Nazi family living in a side house of a concentration camp in World War II, and the whole thing is like it's the framing of it is that you never see the inside of the concentration camp. Everything is from this idyllic like Nazi life, like family lifestyle. Kind of a like it's very kind of dramatic period piece, almost horror movie vibe.
Yeah, no, look, as I said, it
seems like an intense watch.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, those kind of movies, they can be great, and you know, Schindler's List is obviously one that people should see if they haven't, but you really have to be into that kind of, they have to be into that frame of movie to watch it. You know, you wouldn't sit there and go, "Oh, this is a fun Sunday watch," you know. I mean, to be fair,
I'll watch The Zone of Interest and chase up with Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's like
I want to give a shout out to 3 winners that we didn't cover.
Go on.
So I believe the new Godzilla movie got an Oscar.
Oh, phenomenal job! Well done.
Best set design. I am sickened. I missed it. I've heard nothing.
Have you not seen it, Kev?
No.
My god, it's the most Kev movie ever.
Best visual effects. No. Godzilla minus.
Best visual effects. I'm sickened. I'm waiting for it to come out like on home video. I'm kicking myself. It looked great.
Well, speaking of things that Kev likes, The Boy and the Heron, I believe, best animated.
Considering last year was a banger year for animated movies, yeah, of course, Boy and the Heron was going to win. I think the Oscars have been trying to court Miyazaki for like 2 decades, and now that like he's allegedly retiring again, yeah, they were going to give him this. Was a freebie.
Yeah, and the I'm Just Ken from the Barbie movie got, I believe. Just double check which one that was actually.
If you're looking for best,
I'm sorry. What was I made for? Sorry.
Yeah, best original song was what was I made for.
But what was I made for? Got it. Which is probably just as well, because I mean, if I'm Just Ken won, it would have really rubbed the salt in with Margot Robbie not getting nominated. Like,
I mean, you say that it was her and Greta wrote the song.
Who wrote the song?
She's the producer of the movie. Well,
that's true.
Margot Robbie. Well,
yeah.
What's his name? Actually, the producer.
Yeah. But what were they made for? That was a Billie Eilish song, so that's her 2nd Oscar win, I think. Which is kind of bad to think about.
What's the name of the guy that wrote Uptown Funk? Hold on.
Mark Ronson.
Mark Ronson was the actual songwriter. But
okay.
Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were like producer and the director. So
right. Well, I think God, Mark Ronson really got like he should have done like the Bond song 20 years ago. That would have probably cleaned up. However, but yes. So, any thoughts before we move on from the Oscars? I'm sure I've missed something terribly important.
I think I'm kind of sitting in between you two. I do think it's just a self-aggrandizing institution and ceremony for Hollywood, but the whole reason it exists is to be an advertising tool to whoever wins.
Yeah. Well, here's my question before we move on then. Because you've said a few times that, it isn't important, it doesn't matter. Loads of people say that, but people still reporting it. Why is it compelling if it doesn't matter and no one cares about it?
Because people keep talking about it. Like it's
I know, but why?
The Oscars?
Yeah, I know, but why though?
It's not. It's just not. People just say that it is.
But I think it's
why are people talking about it though?
It's a serpent eating its own tail.
That's it.
It's not important, but people talk about it, so then it becomes important, which means people think it's not important, and the cycle kind of goes on and on.
There you go. Kev just literally said the exact thing I was going to say.
Like I take no stock in it, and yet here I am talking about it because it is news. Because
You know what? Listen,
the zeitgeist has demanded it as news.
I know, but no one. I don't know who won at the Golden Globes.
it's just because people keep talking about it. Here's the thing: if people talked about Madam Web nearly as much as they should have, we'd be talking about Madam Web all the time. But because they don't, and there isn't wall-to-wall coverage of it,
I wish I could, like, in some audio form, like, throw water on you right now every time Madam Web comes up.
it's really. Have you seen it, Keen?
No.
There you go. You should watch it.
I haven't seen DUNE II yet. What odds have I got?
That's a bad movie.
Oh.
I didn't like DUNE II. I really didn't. I didn't.
Tell you what, let me go see it first, and then
I didn't. I was on my phone the entire time.
Again, if you're not watching the movie,
I did watch the movie, but I got bored, and I made my own movie.
See, Key, and I think it's a great litmus test. This seems like we're actually going to really like DUNE II.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah,
what I will say, I would have liked DUNE II an awful lot more if
Madam Web was in it.
What? No, if if I hadn't have seen the '80s one before, the '80s one ruined it for me because the '80s one is so much better. But do you guys not like the '80s one?
You're discrediting yourself.
I've seen it actually.
I've done this before about the Return of the Jedi that never got made. So, like, I won't drag you over the coals for that. But Jesus, like,
did you not like the '80s one, Keen?
It's a novelty, but if it was the only Dune film that exists, I'd be like, oh god.
No, because I really, really liked the first one that came out. Like, I just thought,
okay, all right.
I just thought as a sequel, it was like kind of flat or something. It was. I'm still kind of digesting it, but it was extremely flat.
I'll be curious because it is essentially what is the third act of the '80s Dune.
Exactly, and I think that's kind of the problem. Yeah.
And it's been transformed into the middle bit of a trilogy.
And that's the thing. I think the next one now will be even more interesting because that's when the books really take off. But it actually, the fact that you said now that it's a middle bit of a trilogy, that makes a lot more sense. I thought it was the finale, and as a finale, it kind of drops dead.
They're rewriting them so that the sequel book 2, I think Dune Messiah, is the third in the trilogy, and then
that makes sense.
On and leave it.
Yeah. Okay, Dad. Okay, you know what? I'm going to retract what I said. That makes an awful lot of sense. I thought it was the finale, and as a finale, it was really not good.
Okay.
But as a middle part, it's actually really good.
Okay. All right. Well,
I retract what I say. I retract.
That's all right. Well, thank you for that. So, like, we've got probably like 15 minutes left. Should we talk about the thing we were planning on talking about and talk about Comic-Con?
Yes.
We were all at Comic-Con, including... well, no, actually, Katie didn't make it in the end, but she did meet us outside. So, we were all at Comic-Con, not our first rodeo. Kev, how did you find it this time?
I found it better than it had been. I think last couple of times I've been, when we were doing panels there, I'd had some misgivings about the organization. Particularly just kind of with space concerns and kind of crowd movement. I think the last time we did a panel there, I felt like it was a bit of herding cattle trying to kind of get people in and around those escalators. The artist alley in particular was just a crunch of people. So they've spaced that out a lot more. They widened up the kind of the aisles to walk around, and whether or not it just was people, like a lighter turnout, I felt like I wasn't queuing to get up an escalator half as much.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because I only wanted to meet one actor, Mark Shepard, but I didn't have any queues this time. I couldn't find Super Eye Patch Wolf, tragically. They advertised him, and I don't know if he cancelled and they just didn't announce it or something. But no, I had a good time because I go to all of them now. We did have 2 children with us, so I will be honest, I would say a decent half of it was spent in the quiet rooms. But it was fun going around all in costume and going around the artists' alleys and going to the Bender talk was great crack and it was a nice I agree with your sentiment. I didn't feel like I was in a sardine can this time around,
Yeah, and but that's now I overall I still say that the National Convention Center is an awful venue for it. There's no reason it just like the type of convention Dublin Comic Con works on has no need for being so vertical.
Yes,
and like you're
especially
just
for an event that's organized around families who have buggies,
Yeah.
speaking from experience, and passionate cosplayers who might be dressed like the robot from T1000 or what's he called? What is the robot in RoboCop? The killer one. Yeah, I'm sure Dara knows.
Ed 209.
Thank you. Or like, there was a giant Totoro there. Like, it's for a business conference, I'm sure it'd be great, but like those like only like 2 lifts, the escalators broke at one point, like, it's a tough center to move around in if you have not ideal access. And that doesn't even go into the fact that quite a lot of, people with like, wheelchairs and stuff attend these things, like, so it is a weird space for an event like this. Now, obviously, like, it's very well laid out. Like, having gone a few times, like, I know shops are ground floor, ours is the first floor, quiet second floor, talks third floor. In that respect, it's laid out well. But yeah, it's an odd choice for the kind of people who are attending. Like,
yeah, I just think there's probably better venues, and obviously the organizers of the Comic Con probably have like a good relationship with the convention center and get a good rate. But like somewhere like the RDS just seems better suited.
Oh, MegaCon was like now MegaCon's a much smaller con, but like it's so handy having everything on the one floor. Like, it's really, really nice to just walk around and not feel stressed and all that,
Yeah, my go-to now, it's not Ireland now, but the Excel in London is my banner. I was at a Star Trek convention there a couple of years ago. And like obviously the Excel, if anybody hasn't been to it, is monstrously large. Like that is a business campus of a convention center. So maybe like 3 of the halls were actually open for the whole convention I was at. But still, like it's just these large rooms, one floor, and you just kind of move between them. But yeah, that's the biggest kind of gripe I have. But otherwise, yeah, I think like most people I know had a blast this year. Just because I think like there probably was a lighter crowd than there would have been at the summer ones. I think the spring ones are usually a little lighter.
They tend to be a bit quieter, the spring ones, but it's not for like, I mean, there was lots of famous people there. It's just people I wasn't like weren't in my field of interest. Like, I mean, sure, the stars like One Piece and like
that's like the reason the main reason I was there was because 2 of the voice actors of Baldur's Gate there.
Baldur's Gate, there you go.
Deborah Wild and
myself, I don't
Solomon.
remember the Bender actor's name because I've seen him in so many things. Like, heard him in so many things. Like,
which, by the way, Dev and Theo were absolutely lovely. They just very, very small queues to get up to them, and they were both absolutely wonderful people.
Yeah. Okay, well that is kind of, because I haven't spoken about this before, but I always feel like it's a bit of a roll of the dice if you go and meet like an actor or something that you like, because it could be really nice or it could be awful, and either way it's 50 quid. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not fair to place expectations on these perfectly nice strangers, but I always feel that slight whenever
that's fair.
I kind of go and meet someone, And
I think there needs to be something else more there. Cause like even I've been to conventions in a hall with like 100 people, and they knew what it was. They knew what to gear themselves up for. Cosplay was a big thing, and it's more just kind of like using the name Dublin Comic Con and not having any kind of like undersell of it is like, or like under tagline is I don't know. I am I alone in this, guys? Do you think it's
but like I don't know. I think it's still in its changing identity. It's from changing. Because in the time I've been going, it kind of felt like initially kind of felt like the niche thing, and then it became the family centric thing, and now it's becoming it's kind of going back to being a sort of even based on the ones like in the last ones they had the actors playing Mario and Princess Peach. It's kind of going more video gamey. So I think it's normal for Comic-Con to be in a state of flux. No,
I like that's fair enough, obviously, but I mean. Here's the thing: if they had like a family Comic-Con where it was like, or it could be anything. Like, I mean, I'm really not pitching any kind of specific topic for the spring one. There just needs to be. Okay, I'll put it this way, right? When you're watching Raw, WWE Raw, you know what kind of show it is. When you're watching SmackDown, you know what SmackDown is. They are very different brands and they are very different products. Or even if you want to go when you're watching AEW, you know it's different to WWE, and that's what I'm saying. They're both wrestling, but they are very different forms of wrestling, you know, and you kind of have that expectation already there. With Dublin Comic Con, if you went and just went to the spring one, don't get me wrong, it's a good day out anyway, just to have an amble around it. But at the same time,
well, I mean, the panels are fun.
But this is
ones.
But this is the thing, right? The panels you have to kind of dig for. You know, it's not something that you'd actually go into.
That's fair, yeah.
Panels are always a thing you should go to on cons for, right? But the summer one has the wow factor, and summer will always have some big guest or big talk or some kind of big thing there. And I think by having it being we have this convention and it's the same thing, I think it sends out the wrong message. But at the same time, again, if it works for them. It's just that would be my only thing. Because I mean, like if I was going to the spring one, I still really enjoy DCC. But at the same time, it's just kind of like it's a lot more muted. And it's not their fault. It's just because it's probably when it is. But also it's like if they just kind of tweaked it a little bit to be like, right, this is the smaller one, or this is the one where we try something different. Because I mean, bringing all the GTA actors. I'm not a fan of GTA 5. I don't really like it, but bringing all those actors over at the same time to do like a panel and to have them there, that's class. But that's not something you would do if you have big heavy hitters there, you know? Because why would you do that? So it seems like they're all, as you said, Kane, they're kind of angling towards something, but they just need to kind of come out and admit it, you know, be like, this is our kind of stated goal. But sorry, that's my only takeaway on that. I had a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I got to see you guys, which is cool. So that's always a good time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you're slightly, I mean, thank you very much for that, but I think you're slightly underselling the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, no, the atmosphere is always amazing.
You walk around, you get, like, I chased around R2D2. You know, like,
oh no, for sure. But I mean,
Ponyo's, there's loads of free sets to sit on and get your photos with. Like, you know, there's VR things, the owl queuing up. I do think that I don't fully agree.
I don't mean that in a bad way. For example, there's a WWE convention there I'm going to before WrestleMania, and that is literally $30 to go into a shop, right? And meet some wrestlers. The same thing. It's more just kind of like Spring DCC doesn't have an identity.
Okay.
It doesn't have an identity. It used to, like when it was the anime focused one, you're like, okay, all the guests are going to be anime. It's going to have a lot more. It just seemed like it was very diluted. Okay. And then the main thing you spent your time in was the trade hall or Artist Alley. Don't get me wrong, phenomenal artists in Artist Alley. There really is. It needs to have an identity. It needs to know what it is. And I just don't think DCC Spring really knows what it is anymore.
So as a suggestion, like, let's say you've got the Bender actor, say, and then that's your first announcement, and then you get maybe another actor from Futurama, and then you get someone who's done like video games and some voices on Adventure Time, and you kind of like not necessarily make it into an anime con already, but you sort of theme everything.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Make that kind of stuff. But now I still think that you run the risk of alienating people.
Here's the thing.
But I kind of get the thinking, like.
But here's the thing, right? I understand your point, and your point is logical and makes sense. However, the summer one is still going to be that thing that won't alienate anybody. But again, like conventions, people are still going to go to cosplay. I mean, there's people that just went there and hung out in the main hall all day because their friends were there and they just posed in the sets.
This is true. That is something really nice about it. Yeah.
People are still gonna go and it's still gonna have the vibe. But what I'm saying from a bit, I'm not talking about us who go. I'm not talking about the nerds who go. I'm talking about the average person who's going for the first time or the second time. I'm going how to raise this out where you're like, okay, or even the people who are like, I don't like going to a bigger convention because it doesn't cater for, it doesn't have like a theme, which is why like. KazukaCon has a J-Con. They're all like much smaller, but are very, very well teamed. You know what you're getting for. And I think you're right. If they had like to go on your situation there, where it's like, right, Bender's the first one, the Bender actor's first one. That opens up video games, but also opens up animation. You can really, really lead into it. Because I mean, when it was the anime con, they had like a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh actors there and a lot of Pokemon actors. And that was really cool because you're like, okay, you're going to have these specific panels and you're going to have these specific actors there. I mean, I got to meet the the guy who voiced Kaiba, and just hang out with him for like 20 minutes when he
Oh, I
signed
bet it was
everything.
amazing.
That was really cool. That's what I'm saying to you. But like, because it's the smaller one, and because it like all the money's going to be made in the summer run anyway, it just gives them room to, yeah, okay, look, it could, like, you can look at it this way. It can either alienate people or it can give somebody a unique experience. And that's the way I would look at it. And that's what I would try to do for one of them. Because the thing about it is, it's like, if you're not giving them a unique experience or trying to please everybody, you're not going to do that. The summer one has the opportunity to please the widest group of people, because that's the one that they spend all the money on to get like the huge names in, who will just bring people in from the street. Like, that's at the end of the day, like, that's my only takeaway. Not that I didn't have a good time. Not that I don't think it's great, because I do. If you have never been to DCC, go to either one. It's a really good time. We always have a great time. We try to do panels on as much as we can, and we love to go. I mean, Keen's whole family cosplays, like, it's awesome. But at the same time, it's like, just from someone who's been to these for like 15 years now at this point, I would like to see something like that, where they're like, right, we have a smaller one, it's themed on this, and then they go nuts, because they're a great team that they can do it, but it's just, it is what it is, you know. And then, even still, to Kev's point, if they did do a smaller one, right, they could do a smaller venue and solve some of that problems as well. But
okay, well that's fair. I mean, like, you're kind of speaking from experience there.
But we are at time.
Kev, is there any? We've talked a lot about Dublin Comic Cons and all that kind of stuff. People who were there and the Oscars and all that kind of stuff. Is there anything you want to plug or flag or anything like that?
No, I don't think there's anything kicking just yet. We'll have some announcements fairly soon coming up, but nothing I can put out just yet.
Okay. How about you, Dar?
But keep an eye on the socials. There's news that coming.
yes, there is, Kev. Good shout.
Well, I don't know what it is, so, like, you know, you're ahead of me.
So if you haven't followed us, please go over to nerdtoknowmedia.com, and then you'll be able to find all the links there. Social media is also a thing. Nerdtoknowmedia.com, on Facebook and on Instagram. We actually are updating that like daily. There's shows we're going back and like putting up that we didn't either advertise at the time or want to re-advertise. So basically, every single day there's going to be a new show dropping. We're also going to drop stuff that we're involved with. There is a big announcement, like a pretty big announcement coming, which we can't talk about because it's not announced yet. But once it is, it'll go up on the feed. Also, as well, Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out in like 6 hours. So I'm looking forward to that, guys. It's going to be a fun
Haven't they
time.
released that game twice?
No, it's the new collection on the Switch and on the Steam. And on
It's the good
PS5.
one, Keith. You gotta understand.
The original one's going on Steam.
Yeah, well, it's the two
How
of them
much?
together. It's on Steam. It's $29 if you buy it now before it goes out, or €29 before it goes out.
I'll wait and see if it gets cheaper.
Yeah, it will. It will. But I'm actually sorry, €27 at the moment now. If you want to buy it before it comes out.
No, I still played Knights of the Old Republic 2. I've got all the Star Wars games on there. Well, I had until I did this.
Yeah, but the thing, like, what interests me with this is it's one launcher, right? So it just launches. You don't have to download the two of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want it for the Steam, well, not for maybe for the Steam Deck, but I actually want it for the Switch, because then I can take Battlefront with me everywhere I go, which is pretty cool.
I mean, since we're over it, Battlefront 2 is like one of the most relaxing games.
It is.
Like, just wandering from planet to planet.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I still Empire at War, the expansion is still my favorite Star Wars game, but
That's fair.
2 is a lovely, relaxing play. It's really
Oh
nice.
yeah, no. Like me and my brother had Battlefront 2 on our PSPs back in the day.
Oh yes.
It's like endless multiplayer.
The thing about the PSP is you only had the one controller, but now you can buy a little. Like, here's the thing I learned actually, because we are running along. If you buy a special controller adapter, for the PS3, you can actually hook it up to your PSP Go, and download a bit of software where you can actually like Bluetooth sync a PS3 controller to it, and then you get full mobility on the PSP version of Battlefront 2.
The PS, because I had both versions. The PSP, I loved how they discreetly made it smaller.
Yeah,
like,
but you didn't
in a
notice.
space battle between the two. Like, you'd be like, oh, not a lot of ships out here in the space battle. I'm landing in this hangar. It's kind of empty.
No, you know what was great? Speaking of Battlefront, the PSP versions that of like the stealth release of the games that were cancelled by pandemic. So like we actually got Battlefront 3 just in 2 separate PSP games that probably nobody played except me. But yeah, like I think it's a great series, and look, I'm looking forward to playing this game, but mainly not because it could be good or bad. I know it's going to be good, but it's just that I get to carry around a decent port. Well, I'm hoping it's a decent port. I haven't really looked into it yet, but of the games there on the Switch, because that's going to be pretty cool. So that's out in like 6 hours. By the time it goes out, it's already been out. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. Also, I saw 2 movies this week, which was good. So I saw Imaginary, which is terrible. No one go see it. Really bad. It's by the guys who made Megan, and I had very high expectations, and none of them were met. But I did see a really good movie, which I had no expectations of because I went to go see it to fill time, and it turns out to be one of the best movies I've seen in years. It's Lisa Frankenstein. Now,
I'll tell you what. Then, would you like to? I'll write those down. Do you want to actually cover those like properly next week?
Yeah, sure.
I'll write that down so I don't forget. Lovely. Well, I mean, you're driving the bus, Kev, so you have to drive us off the cliff.
Well, while we plummet to our doom, thank you all for listening. As Dara mentioned, you can find us on all of our socials and on our website at nerdshowmedia.com. And as Dara mentioned, well, Boolabus Dara, so socials are looking great.
Thank you.
And yeah, otherwise that's where you can find us, and then you will find us again back here for more of this. Till then, goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.